Did you know that more than 30 countries have refused to recognize Israel since its creation in 1948? Among them, Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Iran have maintained some of the most deep-rooted animosities. But the reasons why these nations oppose Israel are far more complex than you might imagine. Let's dive into the intertwined historical, political, and religious dynamics that explain this hostility. Israel's relationships with Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Iran are fraught with tension. These four countries, located in the heart of the Middle East, have been in a continuous state of conflict with Israel since its establishment as a nation in 1948. To understand why these countries harbor such animosity toward Israel, we must delve into a complex mix of historical grievances, political ideologies, and religious differences. We will explore the roots of this tension, examine key events that solidified the hostility, and highlight why these particular nations have remained at odds with Israel for decades. At the heart of the ongoing tensions between Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, Iran, and Israel lies a central problem: a long history of conflict, displacement, and ideological differences. The establishment of Israel in 1948 and the subsequent Arab-Israeli wars triggered lasting hostilities across the region. These nations, many of which had strategic, religious, and cultural ties to the Palestinian cause, view Israel as a threat to regional stability, territorial integrity, and Arab or Islamic unity. But the problem goes beyond simple territorial disputes. These tensions are driven by a combination of political ambitions, religious differences, and decades of military confrontations. As we explore the reasons behind the enmity, it's essential to understand that each of these countries has its unique set of grievances against Israel, shaped by specific historical events and ideologies. Lebanon's animosity towards Israel is closely tied to Palestinian displacement. After the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, many Palestinians fled to Lebanon, drastically altering the country's demographics and increasing tensions between its Christian and Muslim populations. Lebanon blames Israel for these demographic shifts, which led to domestic instability, including the Lebanese Civil War from 1975 to 1990. The 1982 Israeli invasion of Lebanon and the subsequent occupation of southern Lebanon further fueled hostility. Israel's military operations against Hezbollah, a Shia militant group based in Lebanon, have continued to escalate tensions, especially during the 2006 Lebanon War, leaving many Lebanese with a deep resentment toward Israel. The continued conflict between Israel and Hezbollah remains a significant flashpoint in Israeli-Lebanese relations. Iraq's opposition to Israel stems from its commitment to Arab nationalism and the belief in supporting the Palestinian cause. Under Saddam Hussein, Iraq presented itself as a champion of Arab unity and repeatedly opposed Israel's existence. Iraq participated in the 1948 Arab-Israeli War and, while it never shared a border with Israel, consistently voiced its support for Palestinian liberation. In 1991, during the Gulf War, Iraq launched Scud missiles into Israel, despite Israel's non-involvement in the conflict, in an attempt to rally Arab support and highlight its anti-Israel stance. The Ba'athist ideology under Saddam Hussein emphasized resistance against Israel as part of its broader anti-Western, anti-imperialist rhetoric. Even after Saddam's fall, successive Iraqi governments have maintained an anti-Israel stance, reflecting the deep-seated political and religious opposition. Perhaps one of the most complex relationships is between Israel and Syria. Syria views Israel as an occupying force, particularly over the Golan Heights, which Israel seized during the 1967 Six-Day War. The Golan Heights remains a point of contention, with Syria seeking its return and viewing Israeli control as a violation of sovereignty. Syria has consistently positioned itself as a staunch opponent of Israel through its support for groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. The two countries have clashed multiple times, including during the Yom Kippur War in 1973, in which Syria attempted but failed to reclaim the Golan Heights. Syria's ruling Ba'ath Party is built on the principles of Arab nationalism, positioning Israel as a common enemy to galvanize regional support. This enmity is deeply rooted in both military confrontations and the broader narrative of Israeli-Palestinian tensions. Iran's hostility toward Israel is distinct from the Arab nations due to its ideological foundation in Islamic revolutionary principles. After the 1979 Iranian Revolution, Iran's theocratic government, led by Ayatollah Khomeini, adopted a vehemently anti-Israel stance, labeling Israel the little Satan, with the United States being the great Satan. Iran's opposition is both ideological and strategic. The Iranian leadership views Israel as an extension of Western imperialism and a threat to Muslim unity. Iran has backed militant groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Palestine, viewing them as key actors in the resistance against Israel. The animosity has grown more intense in recent years, especially as Israel has expressed concerns over Iran's nuclear ambitions. With Iran's pursuit of nuclear technology and Israel's vow to prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear power, the hostility has taken on a dangerous geopolitical dimension that threatens regional stability. A pivotal moment in understanding the deep-seated animosity was the 1967 Six-Day War, in which Israel, in a stunning military success, defeated Egypt, Jordan, and Syria and took control of the West Bank, Gaza, Sinai Peninsula, and Golan Heights. This defeat not only humiliated the Arab world, but also solidified Israel's control over key territories that were, and still are, of enormous political and strategic importance. This war shaped much of the animosity that persists today. For nations like Syria and Iraq, Israel's continued existence in these territories is a symbol of occupation and loss of Arab pride. For Iran, Israel's victory solidified its position as a target for revolutionary zeal and anti-Western sentiment. The animosity that Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Iran feel toward Israel is rooted in a complex web of historical grievances, territorial disputes, and ideological differences. While each nation has its unique reasons for opposing Israel, the common thread lies in the belief that Israel's existence challenges their regional ambitions and religious ideologies. From the displacement of Palestinians to the Golan Heights, from Saddam Hussein's Iraq to Khomeini's Iran, the story of Israel and its neighboring foes is a powerful reminder of how historical events continue to shape modern geopolitics. What are your thoughts on this long-standing conflict? Share your insights in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about the Middle East and its complex geopolitics, be sure to check out our other videos on historical conflicts and their global impacts.